Hi everyone. In your complex supply chain, you'll probably have multiple production sites and global distribution centers. But what about the next set of small distribution centers? What about the sample warehouses? What about those smaller sites, that final edge of your global logistics? That particular quote was used at the keynote speech at the SAP launch event of Logistics Management. It's used to better understand the why about the introduction of this brand new offering. I'm Nicolas, next to me is Peter. We are the focus group leads within Flexo of the supply chain execution community. I'm an expert on EWM, so on the warehousing in SAP, while Peter is the expert on transportation and business network. We'll have a few objectives today. By the end of this next 30 to 40 minutes, we want you to take away at least the following three aspects of this webinar. We want you to get a short preview of the solution, what is SAP Logistics Management, gain insights into the product division of SAP, get to know the scope and the functionality of that particular solution, and at the very end, we'll have a broader view of all the typical use cases that it's used for, not only for SAP Logistics Management, but also for the other logistics portfolios, logistics solutions in the SAP portfolio. Those are the objectives. How will we reach that point? How will we deliver on our webinar objectives? Well, we have three aspects in our agenda. We'll kick off with a business case. Why does SAP invest into that particular solution? For who is the solution designed? So that's basically an overview of the portfolio that's currently in S4. Then we'll focus on logistics management itself, on the solution. How do you set up the solution from setup to value? This part will be taken by Peter, who will give you a demo as well. To close, to finalize a conclusion, we'll wrap up, we'll check if we have hit the targets or not in our webinar, and we'll also have some time for questions for Q&A. So since we'll have a Q&A at the end, please feel free to drop your questions in the chat as we go. And this recording, this session will be recorded and the slide deck will be sent to you by mail afterwards, so please feel free to put the phone down and just engage in our webinar. So I've set the scene, now let's kick off with the why. Why did SAP saw an opportunity to invest into yet another new product for logistics? Imagine this, you're a big company, a large enterprise running on S4. You either have logistics needs inside your business suite of SAP, or you really have the needs to have a TMS, VMS, WMS solution that can be standalone for performance reasons. It's closer to the sites that you're on. For those cases, for warehouses, for logistics operations that have a high complexity, there is a best-in-class solution offered by SAP, which is well known. It's EWM and it's TM. So again, if you look at the matrix, we see the process complexity. Whenever your warehousing, your transportation, your logistics and money in general reaches a particular point of complexity, a high complexity, high volume, high velocity, a certain level of automations, EWM and TM is the best in class, is the go-to solution on SAP. That being said, those projects, they typically have a large timeline, they require a comprehensive set of skills. So at the very end, it comes with a significant capital investment. But it delivers. It delivers on peak demand of your logistics. It delivers on well, almost everything that you require from a WMS and TMS solution. SAP calls it the spreadsheet warehouses, the edge of your global supply chain. You might have sample warehouses, other warehouses that do not really require those more advanced needs of EWM and TM, too much engine for the solution. As an example, we have the local distribution centers, stockroom management, outsourced logistics, etc. For those particular use cases, SAP raised the question if EWM and TM, if those solutions are really the ones that you need to roll out for those warehouses, for those sites as well. And with that story being said, SAP in 2026, February 2026, released SAP Logistics Management, which is a standalone cloud-native SaaS solution. It is enhanced with warehousing, transportation, and it comes with a license for business network for logistics as well. So this is setting the scene. You have EWM and TM for more complex cases running on S4 private clouds, and SAP Logistics Management is a new offering. It's a modular offering, a standalone cloud-native SaaS solution that's focused on simple warehouse operations, simplicity, user-friendliness. To be clear, it's something that exists in parallel. It's not there to replace EWM, TM, it's there in addition to SAP's current logistics portfolio. If you look at the other side, which is also important to note, you also have SMEs, customers running public clouds. So cloud ERP is the official term now. Those companies, their logistics operations, well, they are fit to standard because you are obliged to do so in cloud ERP, typically come with lower volume. So basically they have more or less the same process complexity. Also in this solution, EWM and TM is embedded. So you can use reduced versions of EWM and TM. It's still the same products, but it's reduced, it grows, so it more and more it comes to be an alternative solution, another solution, but the grounding of those solutions it copied from EWM and TM. Now, if you compare those two, EWM, TM in Cloud ERP, and you check SAP Logistics Management, well, they cover the same process complexity. So the question here is, for these use cases, is there any business case in using SAP Logistics Management instead of the reduced versions of EWM and TM? We'll have a look later on at the functionalities, but it's basically a business case that you need to check out. It comes with a feature parity on the roadmap. In a few months, all the functionalities of EWM and TM and Cloud ERP will be covered in SAP Logistics Management, but it also comes with a set of product paradigms. It's focused on user-friendliness, for instance. So if you have a business case, you can go for logistics management as well. There's a road sign in between. That's what I said. It's a standalone solution, while in Cloud ERP, it's part of your business suite. So in terms of logistics, you just need to choose whether I go for the reduced version of EWM, TM, or I go for logistics management. That's setting the scene for who is the product designed. Where does it come to in terms of complexity? What complexity does it cover? Now we need to focus as well on the what. What can customers expect from logistics management? We have a product paradigm, so it's a set of offerings, a differentiator compared to EWM and TM in private clouds, both private clouds and public clouds. They focus on rapid deployment. SAP says go live in weeks, not months. So it's really focused on getting things done very agile, very quick. You have predefined processes, you have a configuration aspects that actually put in Fiori applications, so it goes quite quick. Peter did set up our demo system as a functional consultant in only a few days. So it goes really quick. The business agility is a grow as you go strategy, which means that you can set up one warehouse, grow with that warehouse, add functionalities, add TM solutions. So it's a solution that combines warehousing, transportation, business network, but you're not obliged to use all of them at once. Fast onboarding, the user friendliness that SAP is focusing on, reaches new heights. They've introduced a new mobile RF app. You have AI capabilities embedded, EULA, all to have reduced training efforts to have a really fast onboarding for everyone new to that system. And the constant innovation, the very last part, they have rather big roadmaps since it's a new product, it's growing, and every 2 weeks they deliver on those innovations. Now, what can clients expect from SAP Logistics Management? As I said, it's a solution combining warehousing, transportation, and network logistics. It's a SaaS solution, so it's built on BTP, and it's generally available in February 26. Then the product was launched, and you can start implementing it. Integration with Cloud ERP, which is the public cloud, is planned for 2026 Q3. So as later on in the slides, we'll go over the roadmap, but you'll see that on the roadmap, the integration with public cloud is set later on this year. We have 5 pillars of SAP Logistics Management, so 5 processes that it covers. Since it's a WMS and TMS solution, it's covering native warehousing and inventory operations. You have apps to set up the warehouse structure. There is a new app for 3D visualizations of your warehouse layout. It supports internal stock movement, stock blocking, etc., inventory. Of course, you can receive goods, you can send out goods. It's mainly focused on shipping, the current release, so pick, pack, goods issue, transportation planning, carrier selection, etc., and tendering via BN4L. So I already mentioned BN4L several times. It's SAP Business Network for Logistics, which is a cloud-based collaborative platform connecting shippers, carriers, freight forwarders to streamline logistics execution and to really have that real-time supply chain visibility. At the very end, the 4th pillar is the integration ecosystem. It integrates natively with any SAP S/4 solution, so now only with private cloud, in the future also with public cloud. It connects natively with BN4L. Natively means that you don't need weeks to set it up. There is AI capabilities embedded, and you have that mobile app support, which we will demonstrate as well. Last but not least, we also have an AI layer. So it's embedded with AI. You can have real-time insights, and it's only growing every 2 weeks. I think this is one of the most intuitive slides that we have today. It shows the current state of the product. Every aspect that's currently supported is shown here. If it's not supported or not yet there, it's shown with an asterisk. So the asterisk means that the integration is still in the cooking and the making. What we'll do today in the demo is focusing on a basic shipping process, which means that we have an outbound delivery created from our S4 solution, which is currently it's an on-prem solution that we've used. You have a data replication framework that's simply copying our outbound delivery into a logistic demand on SAP Logistics Management. The shipping scenario that we will cover is a direct LTL, so it's a carrier pickup without consolidation. So basically, we'll have a requirement. We'll set all we'll use a freight order for carrier pickup. We pick, pack, and ship. That being said, I'll give the floor to Peter, who will now cover the demo.
Thank you, Nicola. Switch to the system. As Nicola already mentioned, today we will be demoing an LTL scenario with carrier assignment done in the system and picking, packing and shipping. Carrier will be picking up the goods from our warehouse, from our staging area, and all the activities in between we will demo. But before jumping into that functionality, I want to zoom in a bit on the look and feel of the system. I can imagine for those of you who already have systems where you use the Fiori user interface, this will look intimately familiar. For those of you who are not already on Fiori-based systems, the system is basically built up out of applications. Applications correspond to what you might have called transactions back in the day in ECC. And they are basically grouped into pages. In logistics management, for example, we have 4 pages. We have plan, we have run, we have monitor, and we have setup. Those are pretty self-explanatory. Plan covers all the applications that correspond with our planning activities. Run will cover the applications with the operational execution. Monitor is to monitor everything that is happening, whether it's technical or functional. And then setup are all the applications that are used to configure your business processes, to manage the initial setup of the system, and to ensure that data replication from your S4 system is happening correctly. When we take a look at our scenario, which is an LTL with a carrier pickup, we have 2 main applications that we will start with, being manage outbound warehouse activities for the warehousing side and manage transportation requests for the shipping side. I will open these applications. First, we will have a look at the manage transportation requests, and what becomes immediately apparent here is something that is quite broadly represented in logistics management. It's very visual in terms of the indicators it uses, so you get an immediate visual input on where your different processes are and in what status they are at the moment. If I group here, for example, by the way, this is also a native feature of Fiori-based applications. We have on the top here all our filtering capabilities, and you can also configure and adapt predefined views to suit your scenario, whichever one that may be at the moment the best. For my scenario, I'm particularly interested in, let's say, our carrier Monster Trucks Inc., who should be collecting 2 outbound deliveries. And when I check the indicators provided by the system, I see that carrier assignment is green, so the carrier was correctly assigned to these outbound deliveries, so that's already good. But then for the warehouse processing tasks, I see that the indicator is blue. They are ready for processing, but they have not yet been started. That means that for these 2 outbound deliveries, I need to switch applications to my second planning application, which is the manage outbound warehouse activities. Similarly to the managed transportation requests, I've also set up a grouped view here to make it make it easily scannable. And I see that indeed the 2 outbound deliveries for my carrier Monster Trunk Inc. are completely unprocessed from a warehousing point of view. So I will start the process on these. To start the process, I will create first the picking tasks because the goods are not yet picked. So in order to start the picking, we need those picking tasks, which I will create now. Picking tasks were successfully created, which means that also immediately I get the indication that the picking planning has been completed. In terms of planning activities, we are now where we need to be, and we can start the execution component in logistics management, which we can find under the Run page. Particularly, we will do the processing of our warehouse tasks now, which are our picking tasks, which I will, from this application, assign to a work queue that we defined, our picking queue. These tasks have now been correctly assigned to our picking queue and are ready for picking in our warehouse by one of our operators who is using the mobile application, which is natively integrated with logistics management. If we switch to the mobile application, which you should see right now, we see that we have a general overview, which includes your queues, your assigned queues. You can start your next task, or you can immediately jump to specific deliveries, tasks, or put away. There's also an overview of how many tasks you've created on that, completed on that particular day, which it seems like I haven't been particularly productive today, but let's change that. I will first assign myself the queue for picking, and then I will go to my next task, which we've assigned in our process warehousing tasks application. And we see that we need to go and pick a material 5 kgs in our source bin, which is GISO. I will start this task, and I need to move to that particular zone. Once I arrive there, I have these handy barcodes that are on your bin, on your product, as you would typically envision in a warehouse. And I do my pickings of the goods. I verify whether everything is correctly, everything is green, and I confirm my task. The task was confirmed, but I had the second one. So I will also pick these ones. As you can see, the scanning is quite intuitively. It immediately recognizes the right barcode without suffering from too much interference from the other one. So that's quite nicely set up. I did a good job apparently, because there are no more open tasks remaining to this queue, so I can switch back to our logistics management system and continue processing there. If we want to verify whether I actually did a good job in picking, we can always go back to our warehousing overview and see that indeed picking was completed for these 2 deliveries. Picking is done, but then we still need to pack, of course. So to do that, I will open the application Packing Work Center, which will show, I need to select my warehouse, my work center, which then shows me the materials that are ready for packing. To a Packing Work Center, you can also assign all your packaging materials. I assigned 4 packaging materials to this particular work center. And for this one, I think we will create a handling unit on a Euro pallet. The process is quite straightforward and quite intuitive. We select our materials to be packed. We select our handling unit and we say pack selected. So we have one handling unit. I'll create a second one for the second item. And we will also pack it. Looks good. At this point, we can also print the labels for those handling units for shipping. We obviously don't have a zebra printer or anything of the kind here, so I won't be printing the labels. But when all is said and done, we can close our handling units. System gives me an error, so apparently something went wrong, and it says that I need to provide all the required dimensions, which I can easily edit on the handling unit. We were missing the weight, so I will add the weight of the Euro pallet to our shipment. Same for the second handling unit. And then close the selected handling units. And this concludes our packing process. Going back to our warehouse activities, our outbound warehouse activities, we can indeed see that the goods have been packed, and that basically means that they are now ready for staging. Once we stage the goods, we see that they have been successfully staged. So in terms of warehousing activities, that concludes our to-do list. If we go back to our transportation requests overview, we can then see that for those two deliveries, we see that indeed the goods have been treated in the warehouse and the pickup planning has been completed because we also have a planned pickup for that particular carrier, which you can manage in this app, Manage Pickups and Deliveries. And here we see that Monster Trucks Inc. is indeed planning to do a pickup today, and there are 2 handling units contained in that pickup so far. So that's why our indicators are green. Once the truck effectively arrives, we can do a check-in for the truck and register the license plate and some other info like the driver name, driver John, and some other additional info, whatever that may be, that you find handy for your particular case. We can complete loading for all items and do the checkout, and that completes our entire process from logistical demand creation based on our S4 replicated outbound deliveries to the complete end-to-end cycle in logistics management using the native mobile scanning application. One good thing to also mention about that scanning application is that you can also couple it to external scanners.
Only on Android devices?
Only on Android devices, yes. Going back to the presentation. One particular thing that I did not show in this demo was the KPI dashboard. This is a customizable home page that you can set up as a page on your logistics management tenant, and which contains all kind of actionable KPIs, requests picked, whatever you can imagine, productivity in the warehouse, etc., etc. Circling back, what we did, we created in logistics management. We had an outbound that was replicated. The carrier was determined in S4 by our carrier determination rules. We replicated it to logistics management. We created the warehousing tasks. We did the picking using our mobile Android application. And then we did the packing and the shipping to conclude the process. To get there, of course, you do need some setup, and that's also something that's very interesting if you're considering the solution. So how did we get there? How did we get to this setup of logistics management? There's four main elements there. Firstly, you have your S/4HANA instance, where you will need to do a decentral warehouse configuration so that your outbounds can be distributed. This is very similar to the central warehousing setups that existed before. You have to do the technical connectivity setup, which contains mostly the web service configuration and OData API enablement. And you have to set up a technical user and the correct authorizations for the technical user. In terms of cloud integration suite, and this is a particularly important note, perhaps, cloud integration suite is obligatory currently to be able to connect logistics management to your ERP instance. The good news is that all the iFlows, so all the integration artifacts, are pre-delivered by SAP. And simply need to be deployed, and they work out of the box. No custom mappings are required. On the business technology platform, you can deploy logistics management quite simply by using an automated booster and doing some extra additional tasks, as in enabling mobile services for use with the mobile scanning application, creating and deploying and possibly customizing your logistics management homepage, and managing all the roles and authorizations for the users who will be using the platform. Then in logistics management itself, the data replication, which is a pull mechanism, so it pulls the data from S4. You're not pushing data actively from your S4 instance. You need to customize your warehouse layout, and you need to do your process configuration in the tenant. About customizing warehouse layout, this is maybe an important one and a good one to show you in the system still, because it's quite an intuitive, nice application, where you can quickly configure your warehouse. So we have set up a demo warehouse LGM. We managed all our attributes, our storage areas, our storage bins. And one of the nice features is that from that input, you can immediately create a viewable 3D warehouse layout, which gives you a very nice visual interpretation of how your warehouse looks like, based on the configuration that you did.
Yeah, it does not come yet with stock levels or a heat map, but I think this is a good base to start with. That's natively embedded in SAP Logistics Management.
Indeed. That way of setting up the system really gives the possibility to do a rapid deployment. As Nicola already mentioned, we set up between the both of us the system in, I think, max a week, both being functional, not technical consultants. Of course, we had some help from colleagues, but using all these intuitive, easy-to-use applications like the setting up the data and customizing replications, configuring the shipping processes in logistics management, and using that managed warehouse layout app really enabled us to make speed with the deploy and to get it functional and working rather quickly. This also enables certain agility, as Nicola already mentioned, because you can start very simple. As we have here, as we demoed, our LTL process is not by any means complex. If you have warehouses with similar basic workflows, they can be set up quite fast and quite easily. At which point you can also start growing and expanding your template, adding innovations, depending on the roadmap, also adding configurations, automations, and really grow into, in the end, a tailor-fit solution that has quite a sizable feature scope. Constant innovation and the roadmap is quite packed. The roadmap, they have already delivered on quite some functionalities already. Those bi-weekly release schedules are keeping the pace in it. For the most recent roadmap, I would advise to check the roadmap viewer on SAP's site, as it always contains the most up-to-date info. I think a very big one here on this particular slide is starting Q3 in 2026, you will be able to integrate with public cloud, so the cloud ERP public. Concluding with some key considerations, I will hand the word back to Nicolas.
Yes, thank you, Peter. Well, it's good to see that the roadmap is packed. So I think one of the main key considerations that we need to take here is that SAP Logistics Management is here to stay. If we check the roadmap, it comes with still with some basic aspects as well: replenishment of fixed bins, lean physical inventory, Q2 2026. Nevertheless, it also enables you in the future, for example, to integrate with APIs, with the Cardex, with the ASRS solutions. So it's not at all a base logistics management solution. It's here to stay, and it grows. It keeps on innovating. Key considerations, the questions that we need to ask is, did we hit targets with our webinar? Well, we had 3 particular goals here. We want you to have a first look and feel of the logistics management solution. For this, we gave a product demo. We want you to identify the scope and the functionality of logistics management. And at the very end, we want you to be able to position the why. Why is the solution being put in place by SAP? And we want you to gain insight into the why of that particular solution and its typical use cases. We used a matrix which has the process complexity at the x-axis and modular or business suite solution at the y-axis. So is it embedded in your S4 ERP package, or is it a standalone solution? Well, we see here 3 solutions. In total, we have the go-to solution for more complex scenarios, EWM and TM, can be in parallel. In addition, you can add SAP Logistics Management, which works out of the box, is quick, agile to put in place. If you have low logistic needs, and you're small, an SME company implementing an ERP solution, you might see a fit on your total ERP package with Cloud ERP. Know that in Cloud ERP you have embedded logistics, warehousing and transportation, and for that particular use case, whether to keep on using reduced versions of EWM or TM, or go to logistics management, well, that's up to you. There's a business case. And what's the business case? Well, I think we summed them up here. It's the rapid deployment, it's the agility. Rapid deployment are the apps that Peter has shown, the fact that we were able to set up the system in a very short time. Business agility, start with one warehouse, start with warehousing, add TM functionalities in the future. It's the first solution that offers this modern UI with a mobile app, really focusing on user friendliness, and of course the roadmap is a good signal. It's here to stay, it keeps on innovating, and it's embedded with AI. And I think this wraps up our webinar in 40 minutes time, so we'll on schedule. Of course, during the webinar you had the opportunity to post questions, so yeah, drop your questions as we go. Let's have a look here. If there are any questions asked. There's one question here. Can you only connect logistics management to the S4 private cloud? Peter?
In principle, yes. In principle, yes. The pre-delivered iFlows in CPI only work for S4 on private cloud. We managed to make it work with our on-prem tenant through some customization of those flows, but it's not ideal. Currently, Cloud ERP Public is also not an option, but that will then change further in Q3. And then the product vision for SAP is that they will develop it further and further to make it ERP agnostic. So it is not unimaginable in the future that it will act as a true standalone solution.
Yeah, meaning non-SAP integration as well. Okay, there's another question. Is it possible to combine for the same plant logistics management for warehousing together with TM for transportation? To combine for the same plant? Yes, you can grow as you go. In fact, the setting is the same as with a decentral warehousing. So it's on storage location that you set up a decentralized warehouse, and that decentralized warehouse can be EWM or it can be logistics management. And as soon as you have that integration, well, you can start with setting up all the required functionalities in logistics management. In fact, that's something that we did not show, but the organizational structure on the setup, well, this you import on logistics management. So on ERP side, on S4, you just say that these storage locations are relevant for a decentralized solution for logistics management. You import your organizational structure on logistics management, and from that point in time, you're able to grow as you go. There's another question. If there is no yard management functionality, is that possible to connect an external yard management system like Peripass? Good question. I think the answer here is, for the time being, no.
For the time being, for sure not. We did, however, spot in the roadmap ourselves, and this was also SAP's input when we talked to them, that they use a new microservice structure, which should, down the line, enable companies to use a lot of extensibility, make integrations with external systems, and so forth. But for the moment, for sure, no.
Picking strategies, is it flexible? Can we optimize the movements inside the warehouse? Good question. This is what you expect from a mature WMS solution. At the time being, it is not yet the case. So they strictly use FIFO strategies. For inbound logistics, we were not able to set up anything at all. For instance, the product master data, you pull the data from ERP to your logistics management solution, but it's only a display. So for the time being, you only have a list of products, and you can put away that products on a bin that you choose yourself. But it's on the roadmap. It's the strategy of SAP to have dedicated put away strategies, dedicated stock removal strategies, etc. So not yet, but please have a look at the roadmap to know at what particular moment in time this will be available. Are there as well yard management functionalities in logistics management?
Not particularly that I found.
Yeah, we did have a closer look at the roadmap, and I don't believe yard management is.
It's really in scope for this product vision.
Can it be connected to an SSA system? Is that mainly what Peter explained? Today, the connectivity was you had no work in extending any integration with S4 and logistics management, but it's the product division of SAP to be able to connect it to whatever ERP system, also non-SAP. So I believe SSA is also an opportunity there. In the key scenarios slides, manufacturing orders had an asterisk. Does that mean that PP, PM orders integration is not supported in logistics management? Well, it means that it's not supported yet. It's on the roadmap. Production integration, I believe this will be delivered Q4 2026.
Yeah, I think so.
So it's on the roadmap. Everything that you saw on the key scenario slide, will be supported. Is on the roadmap.
This is also a very recurring theme. They have a lot of features planned, but it's still developing as we go.
Yeah, it's a new product. It's here to stay, but it still needs to deliver on some key functionalities. Is the integration a pull concept? If the integration is in a pull concept, does that mean that logistics management is slightly out of sync with S4? Slightly, yes. You can set up jobs, but a job means that if you do it every 5 minutes, that you have a wait. But it's the same with the classical SIF between in SAP S4 system and a decentralized EWM or production system. So yes, it's slightly out of sync. This wraps up our webinar. Well, first things first, enjoy lunch. I hope you did take away some of our key aspects that we hit the targets with our webinar. Enjoy lunch, and thank you all for joining.
Enjoy lunch.
Bye.
Have a great day. Bye.